Hey guys, what's going on? This is Andrew here today, and we are going to be showcasing some pickups that I got today from Game On in Miller Place. They're a retro game store I've been going to for years. I went there when they first opened at their first location. I've been at every single location they've opened, and I've been going there since I was 13 years old. I am now almost 22, or actually maybe it was 14 or 15 years old. I can't remember, but I'm almost 22. I've been going there since I was a teenager, so love the place, have always loved the place. I figured today would be a perfect day to just go there, check out some stuff. I walked out with a lot more than I really was anticipating on, as usual, as that's a very common trend in these videos, as you guys can see, but there are a lot of things here. Basically, I have a now complete PlayStation collection, which is absolutely amazing, because now that means I have every Xbox model, I have every PlayStation model. I'm very close to having every Nintendo model, but we're getting there. We're working around all that. We're seeing what we can do. I'm building my collection more and more. We are almost at 70 consoles now, which is actually insane. But yeah, we're going to be looking at some of the stuff today, guys. A lot of interesting stuff, and one really weird one that I didn't know existed, but saw it was pretty cheap at the store and figured I would pick it up since it was bundled with a few things. So this one here is actually PS1 number 3 for me. Basically, I have a regular PS1 that I got for $13 when COVID first hit that I bought off of eBay. The thing worked just fine. It scratched the disc pretty bad. I'm not sure if there was a problem with the console that did that, or maybe that was just a PS1 thing. I got another PS1 from Mr. Cheapo's that unfortunately, it seemed like the disc spinner had an issue where it wouldn't properly read the disc. You had to basically turn it sideways. It's what happened when the motor dies to get it to read the disc. So I figured I wanted to get one that actually worked, that fully worked, that we tested at the store. And that was the PS1, not the PlayStation 1, the PS1. So I also got it with the LCD TV. I wasn't originally going to do this, but I know that if I wouldn't have done it there, someday down the line, this would be a lot harder to find and a lot more expensive. So I knew that getting them together honestly was probably the best bet for me, since this is one of those big collectible things, and I'm honestly just a big fan of how it looks too. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put this thing. I don't think I'm going to put it in my retro game setup, since I already have a PS2 in there and another PS1. I might actually put this in the setup with just all of this stuff right here, just because it's got the screen on it and whatever, and I can put it right in front of my monitor and mess with it, because it's actually short enough to where it's not going to get in front of my screen. So I might just put this right here and just play PS1 games on it when I'm bored, even though I have the PS3 backwards compatible one right here. But regardless, very, very cool. Always wanted this console in my collection. I finally have it, and I have the DualShock 1 that I've wanted to have for a very long time that I never got around to getting. So next up, we have got the PS3 Super Slim, which was the last model of the PS3 that I needed. I have the fat PS3, I have the slim PS3, I now have the Super Slim PS3. I'm not going to go and get every single backwards compatible model, because that would just be ridiculous. I'm very happy with the partial emulation model I have. If I find one cheap enough, maybe, like if I find the CECH A or B model, which is the fully emulation one, I mean, well, not fully emulation, I mean full backwards compatibility model, because it has the chip and everything, then maybe. But as of right now, I don't find a use for that. I am happy to say that I have every single version of the PS3, so I don't know if I'm really going to be using this one. I think my PS3 Slim might be having some issues again with reading discs, because it wasn't reading Guitar Hero 5, but my backwards compatible one was, so this might have to be the replacement for the PS3 Slim. I know these things were built like garbage. I honestly hate the way that this thing is built, and honestly, I think the look of it is pretty ugly as well, but I now have every single PS3 in my collection, meaning that I have the PS1, I have the the PS1 Slim one, I have the PS2 Fat, the PS2 Slim, the PS3 Fat, the PS3 Slim, the PS3 Super Slim, the PS4, the PS4 Slim, the PS4 Pro, the PS5, and the PS5 Digital, meaning I have every single model of the PlayStation now, which is absolutely incredible. I did the exact same thing with the Xbox 360. Well, with the Xbox, I should say. So I've never owned anything Commodore related before. I've always kind of wanted a Commodore 64 or a Commodore VIC-20, but they do tend to get pretty expensive for the original model. I saw this at the retro game store. I was kind of debating it for a while, but it's new in box. I figured, why not give myself an entry into Commodore and see what the whole fuss is about. This is the C64 Mini, basically just a mini version of the Commodore 64. My dad owns the VIC-20. He doesn't want to take it out of, essentially out of storage. He wants to keep it preserved in one of those bins, and from what I've seen, the thing was in crazy condition, like really good condition. He likes to take care of his stuff, so that's something I'm never going to get from him. He gave me his original Xbox. He's definitely not giving me the VIC-20, so somewhere down the line, maybe one day I'll get that from him. But for now, I'm sticking with the Commodore 64, and I'm probably going to do an unboxing of this. But what I did notice, ironically enough, is the AC adapter isn't included in this thing. So I'm kind of confused on how exactly I'm supposed to power this thing. But I guess I'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to give this thing a shot. This last console is an absolute weird one. I have never heard of this before. The person at Game On that I was talking to never really knew of this thing, but we looked into it. We found out it was a Canadian console that launched in 2005 that failed basically 2 years later, that was meant to not compete with the Xbox 360 and, or PS2 and Xbox 360 and whatever. It was meant to sway those people that weren't really into video games or didn't like the stigma of violent video games to go for. This was meant to be a family-friendly console, whatever the case may be. I know there was only about 100,000 units of these things sold, so it is pretty rare for the most part. When you consider something like the Virtual Boy, which was considered a failure, sold over 1 million. So this is something never heard of, but it was only $100 at the store, and I figured, okay, it has some games with it bundled. It has 4 controllers with it. This thing is the Gamewave. I don't know if there's any other name for it. I think it's just called the Gamewave. I'm not exactly sure what the rest of it is, but this is the Gamewave. I honestly think this is one of the ugliest looking consoles I've ever seen. When I was watching a video about it, the guy was talking about how cool he thinks the aesthetic is. I think this is like the ugliest game console I've ever seen in my life. This is basically a hybrid between a entertainment player and a game console. So don't really know what I'm supposed to do with this thing, but I do want to give it a shot just because this is like the weirdest retro game console I've ever seen in my life, and I really want to check it out. Like, it looks so much older than it actually is, which is the funniest thing ever. Like, I feel like this is just trying to be different, and it just came out terrible. Like, you see consoles like this, you know they're immediately going to fail, but something interesting nonetheless. I may do a video on it someday in the future if I kind of look into it a little bit more and get to mess with it more, but with how busy I've been, probably just something I'm going to keep on my shelf just because I think it's funny as hell. But yeah, that's every console that I got here. I also ended up getting a few games that I'm going to show right here. So let's start off with the ones that I actually got for the Gamewave, because there were a few things that came with it. Some things that were actually sealed in box. So I guess this had just some movie things on there, or like documentaries or whatever, because I see Rewind 2005, relive the events of 2005. It looks like it also came with 2006 and Rewind, relive the events of our past. So these look to just be like TV documentaries, movies. I'm not taking these out of the case. I'm keeping these in the seal just in case they ever become rare in the future, because this was specifically for the Gamewave. So I am definitely keeping those in the seal, considering this is a rare console, and it's probably even rarer with those sealed games in the, or movies or documentaries, I should say. This stuff right here, though, these two seem to be games. This one looks to just be just some gems game, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what to describe this game as, but this looks like something that you would have seen on like the PS1, or maybe even, yeah, I'd say the PS1 if anything. Definitely doesn't look like something that would have played on the PS2 or the original Xbox, or maybe it would have, I don't know. But I just know that it looks like garbage and it's something I want to mess with. And then I guess this is just one of those family-friendly games. It's called Letter Zap, I guess. I don't even know what to do with that, but that's pretty much everything I got for the Gamewave. Those are some of the games I got there, the documentaries, movies, whatever the hell you want to call them, but very interesting stuff. I'm actually very interested in giving this console a shot. Alright, so since I just got the Master System, I figured that it would be a good time to just add like a few games there, just because there were ones that I wanted to play on there since I only have Rocky, and I wanted to give some of the other games that exist a shot. I forgot that Sega actually supported this thing for as long as they did. They supported this thing forever, and I'm pretty sure Brazil still regularly uses the Master System, if I remember correctly, but I had to get a few games because all I had was Rocky, and I want to play more on this console just because it interests me so much. I honestly prefer this over the NES for a lot of the games, because a lot of them are the definitive ports in terms of the third-party stuff. I'm not talking about the first-party stuff. NES will always have my top spot there, but in terms of third-party stuff, I'm interested. But we got the original Mortal Kombat on there. I love Mortal Kombat, always have. We've got Missile Defense 3D, which honestly probably isn't going to be that good, but it was only $10 and it was in the box, so I figured I'd go for it. One last thing, This came out during the 16-bit era of games as well, but they were still supporting the Master System. They actually made Golden Axe on the thing. They did Sonic the Hedgehog on there as well. They did an Alex Kidd game on there. They did so many things on the Master System and supported it for so long. I have so much respect for Sega for doing that as well, because I know once the Super Nintendo was out, you really weren't getting that much from Nintendo on the original NES. It was an upgrade at that point where I guess Sega was sympathetic for the Master System guys that didn't want to get a new console just yet, and we're like, all right, here it is. But the thing with these games too is the Master System was more powerful than the NES, so these games actually were noticeably better looking and were pretty close to 16-bit in some cases. So honestly, love the hell out of the Master System. I'm definitely going to be playing it some more. But the last two games I got, this one was bundled with my PS3. This was Modern Warfare, which I don't think I had a copy of on PS3 yet. So cool if I probably did actually. Nope, I didn't. Cool. So that's another game to add to the PS3 collection for no reason. I've played it a million times. And then I lost my copy of this for some reason. I don't know where it went. I'm probably never going to find it, but I got my copy of Guitar Hero Metallica for the 360, which means I successfully have every single Guitar Hero game on every single platform again. Because at some point, I made a video claiming that I did, and I did, but I lost Metallica, so I had to get another copy of it to re-complete that collection. But yeah, guys, that's everything here. Boy, I gotta stop spending money. I actually also just bought the Asus ROG Ally, so that's going to be coming soon, and I'm probably going to be doing a video on it, more than likely an unboxing. I don't know if I'm going to do a review on it. I'm more than likely going to compare it to my Steam Deck, since I do have the Steam Deck, but not sure if I'm going to do a comparison video or not. We'll definitely have to wait and see. I also got a few things from a Japanese site that was linked to Mercari that my friend did, because he was trying to get some stuff, and to get it shipped it was going to be expensive, so we got a bunch of stuff together and like split the shipping, whatever it was. So a lot of cool stuff coming, guys. Thank you all for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one.